Let's not talk about this wig. I was influenced to buy this wig on TikTok shop. So let me know in the comment section what it's giving. I bought it like 3, 4, 5 months ago on TikTok shop. I saw it on TikTok shop, decided to buy it, and I have a link if you're interested in it. But let me know what it's giving in the description box. Let's do this intro again. Hey guys. It's all over my face actually. Oh my god, it's all over. Oh my god. Okay, now we're good. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Giftogu. I'm a Nigerian YouTuber currently living in Alberta, Canada. And if this is your first time watching any of my videos, welcome. I make videos about lifestyle, career, and vibes. So if any of these things I mentioned are what you're interested in, please let me know. But this video is not about career or lifestyle. Well, it's about career. It's about career. It has a little bit to do with your future career. Anyway, if you've watched my last video, you know that this video is very important regarding your career. If this is the step that you're looking to make regarding your career, you've come to the right place. But today we're going to talk about how to move to Canada as a permanent resident. If you're just coming across my channel, my name is Giftogu. I recently moved to Canada as a permanent resident from the United Kingdom, and I've shared loads of things regarding how I moved. I shared my immigration story. I think that video has 2 parts. I have shared my IELTS journey, how I got like great scores in my IELTS. I have also shared why I decided to move from the UK to Canada as a permanent resident. All the videos that I've made before is about how I. Now, today's video is how you can move to Canada as a permanent resident. So let's get started. Today, call me your your Canada immigration fairy godmother. But before I get started, I would like to say again, I am not an immigration consultant. I am not a licensed immigration consultant. I'm not an immigration consultant. I'm not even a licensed one. I'm not an immigration content creator. I am making these videos from my experiences with my knowledge. So make sure you do your own research and, make the best decision. Don't come to my inbox or send me an email saying that you want me to do your application for you. I'm not going to do that. I'm not able to do your application for you. I'm just going to answer your questions based on my experience moving from Nigeria to the UK to Canada. I'm holding my ears. I am not a licensed immigration consultant. I am not an agent. Don't pay me or anybody any money. I'm hearing a lot of funds that these immigration consultants are charging people, or agents are charging people. I am not an agent, okay? So I'm not a licensed immigration consultant. I am not an agent. So now that we have that out of the way, let's get started. I'm sure you've been hearing PR everywhere. Everybody is moving to Canada. If you open your YouTube, you'll see how I moved to Canada as a permanent resident is everywhere. How I got my PR. I'm sure you want to know what PR is. So let's get started. I have my jotter here, and I'm going to, if you see me looking down, know that I'm looking into my jotter to get more information, or to get more information anyway. PR means permanent residency, and it's actually the process that I used to come to Canada. I did not come on visitor's visa where they promised me job. I will not recommend that. I would not recommend you to come. If you want to come to Canada as a visitor, I would say come as a visitor and explore the country. Look, it's so beautiful. So come as a visitor to look at how beautiful Canada is for tourism. But to come and sell all your properties, you now come to Canada to get visitor's visa, then you now move to asylum from there, or you come to Canada as a visitor in hopes that you get a job that will now give you a work permit, or you would seek asylum. I did not say please don't do it. Don't do it. This is all over the place, but I'm going to get the value of my money today. Anyway, don't do that. Don't come to Canada as a visitor that you with hopes of getting a work visa. I do not recommend that. I did not come here as a visitor. I came here as a permanent resident. I came here as a legal permanent resident. I know there's no illegal permanent resident, but I came here as a legal resident in Canada. So now that we've talked about PR and that it means permanent residence, you're permanent resident, Getting a PR, a permanent residency in Canada, is not rocket science. My favorite thing about this particular visa, or this particular paper, as we Africans like to call it, is the fact that my stay is not tied to any job. So I did not come to Canada with a job sponsoring me. I did not come to Canada with anybody sponsoring me. I came here as a permanent resident, which means I'm entitled to do any job that I want to do. It gives me freedom, and like I said in my previous video, it gives me peace of mind. So the peace of mind that there's no immigration policy that is going to come out now that will affect me, or there's no job that I have to do and I have to continue doing for like a period of 5 years before they would give me, I don't know, a job has to sponsor me or whatever. Please, you understand better if you watch my previous video. So the fact that my stay is not tied to any job, I'm not sponsored by anybody, I'm just here as a permanent resident. The freedom that it gives me is what is very important to me, and that's my favorite thing about having this permanent residency. Remember, it's not a student visa, it's not a work permit, it's not a visitor's visa that you used to come to Canada, sell all your properties, hope to get a job that you used to convert to a work permit or seek asylum. It's not any of those stuff. It's permanent residence, a very legal residence. A residency is equivalent to getting a green card in the US and getting the ILR, which is the indefinite leave to remain in the United Kingdom. So that's the equivalent of a Canadian permanent resident. Now let me just get started with how you can get this permanent residency, because it's not rocket science. The Canadian permanent residency is a points-based system, which means you're assessed based on, you get points for the requirements. The first thing that you would need to get started with this process, let me say you're a new person, you want to get started as a permanent resident, you don't know where to start from, you don't know what to do or where to go. I'm just going to give you a beginner's guide to getting permanent residency in 2024. The first thing that you have to do is to pay for an English test. An English test is either the IELTS General, not academic. IELTS General, IELTS General. The IELTS means International English Language Testing System. The general one, not the academic one. Okay, not the UK IELTS, the IELTS General. That's what you need. Or CELPIP. The CELPIP, I think, is the Canadian English Test, or the PTE. I always talk about IELTS because that's what anyone that you like. I would recommend IELTS General because that's what I wrote. So you need this IELTS. And if you decide to choose IELTS, these are the scores that will help you, because have you seen the scores for the PR draws that they've been doing? High scores, do you understand? So if it's something that you're interested in, something that you want to do, and you want to get a high score regarding this, these are the scores that I would say you should pursue. The first one is the listening, which carries the highest mark. Try to get an 8.5 in your listening, an 8 in your reading, a 7.5 in your writing and your speaking. These scores are achievable. People are getting it. It's not rocket science. They don't have two heads. One head that you have, so you can actually read and do it. I'm going to link my IELTS video somewhere here, so if you're trying to write the IELTS and you need tips and strategies, that video would actually help you. And in the description box of that video, I put loads of resources and links that helped me and can help you too. So now that we have the English test out of the way, and we've talked about the scores that you need to get a high score in your English test, the next thing that you need is a verification, an academic verification, which means to come to Canada as a permanent resident, you need to be educated. You need to have a degree or diploma of some sort. You cannot come to Canada as a permanent resident without having like any academic qualification. I mean, you can if you have a spouse and the spouse is going to be your primary applicant, but I know that you need to have like some sort of education. Do you understand? Some sort of education, something. You need to have something, okay? And this something can be a degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a PhD, an OND, or HND. Now, you have to evaluate it with an academic, with an evaluation body recognized by the Canadian government. I usually recommend West Canada. That's the one that I used, and I feel that if you're interested in that, you should use that. There's also the ICAS. I think lawyers mostly use ICAS. I am not too sure. Lawyers mostly use ICAS. So there's West, there's ICAS. There are a couple of others though, but like I said, I'm very good with the West. That's the one that I used, and that's the one that I would recommend for everybody. Okay, so that's one I'll recommend though, but just check the one that works better. Still on the academic verification, it's important to know that you get points for your academic qualifications. If you have a master's, you get a higher score than someone that just has a bachelor's degree. If you have like a PhD, you get a higher score than someone that just has a master's. If you have 2 masters, your second master's is not giving you an additional point. You will get points for just 1 master's degree. Now, if you have like an OND and a HND, you get more points than someone that just has a BSc, because the OND and HND, they're calculated as 2 or more certificates, which gives more points than when you just have like a BSc. Now, if you have just a BSc, you can use it, only that if you don't have a master's. But if you have a BSc and PGD, it's going to still give you points for 2 or more certificates. So you get more points than someone that just has a BSc. If you have a BSc, you can also do an additional diploma. Diplomas that are recognized in Nigeria that you can do are, you can do the CIIN, Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria Diploma Foundational Course. You can do the ACCA. The ACCA is recognized by WES, so you can verify your bachelor's degree and ACCA. You can also do CIMA. CIMA is also recognized. I think Chartered Institute of Man. I don't know, Chartered. I don't know. Like, you know what CIMA is? Okay, I'll check and put it on the screen anyway. So you can actually do CIMA, or you can also do BCS. BCS is also recognized by WES as an additional diploma. So if you have your bachelor's degree and you have this diploma, you will get the points for 2 or more certificates instead of getting just the points of a bachelor's degree. So if you have like this bachelor's degree and diploma, you get the same points that someone with an OND and HND has. I hope you understand. So that's about the academic qualification or verification. You use the WES. WES is World Education Service. And when you're using this WES, it's not just any kind of WES, WES Canada. WES Canada, and that evaluation is going to IRCC. IRCC is Immigration, Refugees, Citizenship of Canada. I think that's what it means. I'll still check, but I think that's what it means. So I would put the WES you should look for on the screen, actually. WES Canada, not WES US, and you're doing the ECA, that's the evaluation for IRCC, which is the Immigration, Refugees, Citizenship of Canada. So this evaluation body is going to evaluate your academic credential and compare it with the Canadian, what is applicable in Canada, and then they will give you a report, and also have a report that they will send to IRCC. Regarding this WES, like I said, I'm going to talk about WES because that's the one I know, but I know there's ICA, so you can do your research and read about other verification bodies that are acceptable by Canadian Immigration, which is IRCC. For WES, you have to, when you go to WES Canada, you go to open your Google, like, because some of the questions that people usually ask me, I mean, I'm all for asking me questions, but please ask me good questions, okay? Don't ask me where can I find WES? On Google. I do not leave you at WES, okay? You can find WES on Google, okay? So anyway, sorry for the interruption. Please don't forget to tell me if this week is giving in the comment section. I want to know, is it giving? Is it a yes or a no? If it's a yes for you and you want to buy it, I bought it £3, but it is £10 plus, and like you already know, this video is not sponsored, so I'm just sharing my stuff. And I'm saying it again, I'm not a licensed immigration consultant, so please don't expect me to help you with your immigration stuff. I'm just sharing my story and what I know, my knowledge, and I hope that it can help. So like I said, WES Canada, go to Google and type WES Canada and sign up, pay the sum of, click on ECA for IRCC. I've told you guys what IRCC means. Click on ECA for IRCC, then put in your credentials, pay the sum of 250 Canadian dollars. I think it's 250 Canadian dollars. They'll give you a WES reference code. When you're done paying, take the reference code and apply for your transcript in your school. So it depends on the school that you you attended. Now I'm saying if you have a master's degree, you do not need to verify your bachelor's degree. You only need to verify your master's degree. I'm saying this for people in the UK who have like master's degrees, or even those in Nigeria. You only need to verify your master's degree, not your bachelor's degree. So to do this, what you're going to do is, when you get that reference code, for me, I attended the University of Hertfordshire for my master's. So I went to the admin and transcript. I got their email address. I sent them an email with my West reference number, and I told them to please send my transcript and certificate to West for verification. They did it either that day or the next day, and in less than 10 days, my report was ready. I also verified, because before I got this master's, if you watched my PR story, you know that I started trying to come to Canada as a permanent resident in 2021. So then I just had a bachelor's degree, which I verified. I did the same thing, paid, and UNN, I got the reference code. I went to UNN Transcript's website. I don't know how other Nigerian schools work, but UNN is very fast. Like, the University of Nigeria is amazing when it has to do with transcript. I think they're one of the best when it has to do with sending transcripts. So they're quite fast. You don't even need to know anybody. So I went to the Transcript's website and put in my reference code and where I wanted them to send the transcript to. They had to send it to, which is the West office in Canada, and they did just that. You'd also click how you want them to send this. That's the courier service you would like to use: DHL, FedEx, UPS, or NIPOST. Don't use NIPOST, okay? So that's basically about West. I think we're done regarding West, and we're done regarding IELTS, right? So we're done regarding IELTS and West. Now let's go to the next thing. The next thing you get points for regarding Canadian immigration is your age. I don't think if you're less than 30, you get more points. However, when you turn 30, you start to lose either 10 or 5 points for every birthday you clock. So if you're less than 30, you would get the maximum points for age. I started the process when I was 27. Yeah, I got into the pool in August and got invited in October. So I started the process when I was 27, and I'm still 27, and I'm done with the process. So if you're less than 30, you get more points for your age. If you're more than 30, you start to lose points at every birthday. But that does not mean that you cannot get Canadian PR when you are more than 30. Obviously not. You can still most definitely get Canadian PR when you are more than 30. It's just that your points will go down. So you just need to find ways to increase your. Another important thing regarding this express entry process is your work experience. To get the maximum work experience, you need 3 years of work experience, 3 years of concrete work experience with a company that they can check. Okay, don't guys use one mago work experience that does not have an online presence, that does not have like an official email address. I think just as legit as possible. Please get work experience, 3 years, maximum of 3 years. You get the highest points for work experience. Your NYC experience counts as far as a good company that has an online presence that is on Google My Business. I mean, they can Google the company and it pops up, then a good email address, even a website, something, a concrete work experience, 3 years. You need that. Now, if you also have siblings in Canada, not siblings who are students, or siblings who are on a visitor's visa or work permit. If you have siblings in Canada who are permanent residents or citizens, you get an extra 15 points for them, a whooping 15 points for having siblings in Canada. So I told you that it's a points-based system. So they calculate these points based on your age, based on your work experience, on your English test, and on your academic credentials. Then if you have siblings, extra points, good for you. 15 points, free 15 points for you. Another way to get extra points in Canada immigration is to do the French test. Like, if you have the capacity for it and the money, you can also write, in addition to your English test, you can also write the French test, which is the TEF and TCF. That means you have to take classes to write this. And what I would say is that if you study French in uni, this is a good opportunity for you. Come and speak French. Write it and move to Canada as a permanent resident. Just speak your French and all of that. Do you understand? Bonjour les merci. I know it's not bonjour les merci that they speak though, but if you know French, it's also a good opportunity for you. You can take the English test and the French test. You get extra points for taking the French test. So these are the things that that they use to calculate your score when you want to come to Canada as a permanent resident. There's something called the CRS calculator that you would use to calculate your score to see what your score is. So these things that I mentioned will round up to give you a particular score. And when you have this score, they usually do draws, so they do a cutoff for a particular score. And if it's up to your score, you get invited to apply for permanent residency. Making it easy, but to be honest, it's not as easy as I'm making it. It's quite tedious, and it also requires money. But then there's something I want to explain, which is the category-based draws. If you've been following the Canadian immigration, you know that the scores have been going up. The scores have been going up and up and up. They've increased the score, so it's even very hard to even get Canadian permanent residency now. However, there's something called the category-based draws, where they're focusing on 6 categories. These categories are healthcare, tech, agric, trade, transport, and French speakers. So if you fall under any of these 6 categories, lucky you, because the scores are lower for people under these categories. So if you have experience in healthcare, if you're in the UK, your healthcare assistant's role thankfully falls under that. It can be like an experience as a doctor, as a medical assistant, dentist assistant, as a nursing assistant, healthcare assistant, a pharmacy assistant, a pharmacist, I think a dietitian. I'll still check and put it here. I think a dietitian has been added to that. Nurses, doctors, med lab scientists, like a lot of healthcare professionals fall under that healthcare category. There's also the agri category. There's the transport category, French category, trade, and tech. So yeah, you might want to Google these categories separately. If you have experience in tech, you might want to Google to see the careers that are under this particular category. So if you have experience in any of these 6 categories, lucky you, because even though the scores for the permanent residency, they are very high now, the scores for these categories are lower than the general draws. You understand? So yeah, I hope that makes sense. I know it makes sense though, but if you don't understand, leave me a question in the comment section. Please leave me a question that you cannot Google. Okay. Another way, aside from the federal skilled workers draw, which is the one that I just mentioned now, another way that you can get permanent residency in Canada is the provincial nomination. It's called PMP, Provincial Nomination Program. So there are a couple of provinces in Canada. I'm currently in Alberta. Canada is very big. There's Ontario, where the famous Toronto is. There is British Columbia, where you have Vancouver and a whole lot of other places. There is Alberta, there's Manitoba, there is Saskatchewan, there's New Brunswick, there is Nova Scotia, there is the Northern Territory, Prince Edward Island. I'm trying to remember other provinces that we have in Canada. There's Quebec. There are a couple of provinces in Canada. I think like 12 or 13. I don't know exactly how many provinces they have in Canada, but they have quite a number of them. And each of these provinces have their provincial nomination program. They have like different requirements for it. For Saskatchewan, I think you need to be in the pool, and you also need to apply for the Saskatchewan provincial nomination program. For Manitoba, you need to be in the pool. I don't know if you really need to be in the pool, but I think you need to also apply separately for the Manitoba provincial nomination program. And for Manitoba, you need to have a close relative in Manitoba to get extra points. Lucky if your close relative does not live in Winnipeg but lives in other parts of Manitoba, like Brandon, other parts that is not the capital city of Winnipeg. So you probably get higher scores if your close family member does not live in Winnipeg. Anyway, for Alberta, like I think they're previously doing the siblings draw, like close family draws, where if you have a sibling, you can get like points and you get invited to apply for provincial nomination in Alberta. But like different provinces have different ways of choosing people. Some of the provinces like Ontario, they pick people from the pool. I think Alberta also picks people from the pool. So it depends. Even British Columbia, so it depends on the province that you are and the nomination program for that particular province. But the good part about the provincial nomination is that the scores are lower than the federal skilled workers, and if you get nominated by a province, you would get an extra 600 points. So for instance, if your score in the PR in the pool, like I said, when you do all this stuff, your IELTS, WES, work experience, check your age and all of that. You have all of these things. You go to the portal, the PR portal, which is called the pool, the express entry pool, and you just wait for them to pick you. So for instance, if your score is 400 and then you get a provincial nomination by maybe Alberta invites you to Alberta sends you an NOI, which is notification of interest, and then you apply and all of that, and then you get nominated. You get an extra 600 points, which means that 400 plus 600 is 1,000. So when they do like the general draw and they cost maybe 500 and something, you are definitely going to get invited because your score is because your score is 1,000. Do you understand? So different provinces have different requirements. For Ontario, most times they focus on the provincial nomination, the category-based draw. Sometimes they do healthcare draws, they do tech draws, they do French speakers draws, they do any kind of draws that they like. So the main thing is that to even get these provincial nomination draws, I would say stay in the pool, do whatever it is that you can to enter the pool quickly. Just stay. I'm not saying rush into the pool and don't get good scores in IELTS. Do whatever it takes to get good scores in IELTS so you can enter the pool, because you can't enter the pool without your IELTS and your verification, which is where you need these two things to go into the pool. So please do whatever it is to enter the pool and stay there. Anything can happen. You can get picked by a province. You don't even know. So enter the pool first. Now let me talk briefly about the category-based draws that I mentioned. I said these categories are healthcare, tech, French speakers, trade, transport, and agriculture. To get invited for this category-based draw, you need to have, for the federal skilled workers, the one that I did is the federal skilled workers. For the provincial draws, you need to when you get it, you need to stay in the province for a period of 2 years before you think of leaving. I mean, why you going to the province nominated you, so you want to use the province and come to Canada. You don't want to stay there. No, they don't do that here. So if you get invited for the provincial nomination draws, you would definitely have to stay in that province for 2 years. Now let's go back to the category-based draws. I mentioned the 6 categories. I'll mention them again: French, trade, transport, agri, healthcare, and tech. These 6 categories. To get invited for any of these categories, like I said, the scores are lower. You need to have at least 6 months of recent work experience, not work experience that I did in 1998. 3 months of recent work experience, at least 6 months, of recent work experience in any of in the category that you're looking for. For instance, for myself, I have like 3 years of experience plus in advertising. Now, like I told you, you get the maximum points when you have at least 3 years of experience. Then I had up to like 1 year of experience in healthcare. I got invited with the healthcare draws, not with advertising, because for my advertising occupation, which was like my secondary occupation, I did not get invited for that. It's not part of the 6 categories. But healthcare was part of the 6 categories, and that's what I got invited with. Do you understand? I had 1 year of experience with it. So if you have like 6 months of at least 6 months of experience in your 3 years that I talked about, at least 6 months of it should be in any of these categories. Do you understand? However, for the provincial nomination, if you're looking to get invited through provincial nomination in the category-based draws for provincial nomination, which is way lower than the federal one, you need 1 year of recent work experience in that particular category. Not 6 months, so 1 year. 1 year because it has to be your primary occupation. I think I'm all over the place in this. Let me quickly explain what occupation is. There's something called the NOC. NOC is the occupation code. So they have the primary occupation code and the secondary one. My primary was advertising and marketing, and my secondary was healthcare. If you're looking to get invited through the provincial nomination for the category-based draw, make sure that your work experience that is in the category that is hot now is up to 1 year, and make it your primary occupation instead of making it your secondary occupation. Do you understand? So for instance, you have 3 years of experience as a banker, then you came to the UK, you started working in a pharmacy as a pharmacy assistant, and you have 1 year of experience in pharmacy, and then you've checked, maybe age is not on your side, you don't have like maybe your age is not on your side, maybe you're started losing points for your age, and then you just don't have a lot of, your score is not high enough and all of that. Even though you are in the pool, you just feel that if they do the general draws for the category that you're in, it will be too high and you will not be able to get invited. You might want to change your primary NOC, the one that is actually hot, to your primary NOC, so that you can be eligible for the provincial nomination draws. A friend of mine had 389 and she actually got invited to apply for Ontario. Two of my friends actually, they got invited to apply for Ontario. So I would say that it's very important to just check this thing very well. If you have experience in any of the categories, and even though you don't have like loads of experience and you're interested in the provincial nomination, I wasn't really interested in the provincial nomination, but if it's what you're interested in, because I wanted to go to Alberta, like I really wanted to move to Alberta, so I was not really interested in the provincial nomination. But if it's what you're looking to get, you might want to make the experience that falls under the category based your primary occupation. Just make sure that you have at least 1 year of experience in it. That's what I wanted to explain here. So yeah. That's basically about it. I think I've been rambling a lot. So when you actually get invited to apply for permanent residency, that's when you've done your evaluation and all of that, you'd start submitting your documents. Now, this work experience that you talked about when you were entering the pool, you will now have to submit references for your work experience. So for me, I didn't submit a payslip, but you can. Most times they'll ask you for it. Most times they won't ask you for it. For me, I didn't submit a payslip because like the places that I worked in, they had an online presence, they had websites, it was on a letterheaded paper with the company's email address, official email addresses, phone numbers. The companies had an online presence, so it was like really, I submitted my reference letters, but I didn't submit my payslip. However, if they had asked me to submit a payslip, I had payslips to submit. Do you understand? So I don't know, if you want to submit a payslip, you can. If you don't want to submit a payslip, that's on you. That's like, do you? Do you understand? I didn't submit a payslip, but if they asked me to do that, I was going to. For some people, they ask them to submit a payslip later, even after submitting with just reference letters. So yeah, you need to submit a work reference letter. You need to submit your police clearance report. For me, I lived in the UK and in Nigeria, so I needed a police clearance certificate from the UK and from Nigeria. I also had to submit my West report, and in my West report for my educational qualification, I had them on one particular folder. That folder contains my bachelor's degree, my master's degree, my West report, and my IELTS. It was in a particular folder. Another thing that I had to submit was my visa and stamps, which is my travel history. So I scanned my passport for places that had all the visas that I've had, my UK visa, my Schengen visa, my stamps from all the countries that I've been to, stamping in and out. I scanned everything that contains stamps and visas on that particular passport. I put it in one PDF folder and I actually submitted it. I submitted a reference letter, I submitted my travel history, which is like the stamps and passports. I submitted my educational qualification, like I said, and yeah, I submitted my marriage certificate. I did everything that I had to do. So you see the list of information they'll ask you to submit. There's also a place to submit your passport photograph, which I also submitted. Now, in the travel history section, please make sure that you put the countries that you've traveled to there. I put Scotland, Czech Republic, Barcelona, like places that we've actually gone to on holiday. I put all of those in my travel history. And my passport, I had my passport and the stamps to show for it. So they'll actually cross-check that. There's also the personal history section where you put everything that you've done for a period of like 10 years. So everything, there cannot be any gap. Like there cannot be any gap. Like you have to put everything at all. Then you have to do your medicals, but they will tell you when to do your medicals. So I just submitted an empty piece of paper. I took a picture of an empty piece of paper and submitted it for my medicals, because they will tell you when you go for your medicals. They no longer do upfront medicals. So then the money though, for this particular money, when I was doing mine, it was 17,127 Canadian dollars. However, the price has gone up now. I don't know how much it is. I'm not going to do the research and put it on the screen. Google, your family size, so Google it. How much do I need to move to Canada as a PR, as a family of one, as a family of two. Don't ask me how much it is. Like, I don't know how much it is now, and you can do the research yourself. And why I'm telling you to do the research yourself is because I want you to do it yourself. I don't want you to pay any agent that will run away with your money. We don't want that. I don't want you to pay any agent that will run away with your money for something that you can do yourself. So if you want to know how much it is, how much you need to have, do the research yourself. Google it yourself. When you start Googling things yourself, you will not want to pay agents that will run away with your money. I think my next video should be about the whole agents thing. What do you guys think anyway? And I want to make another video on how I got my house from the UK because people have requested for that. Anyway, that's basically about that for this video. If you have more questions, please ask in the comment section, and I have my calendar links down. If you want to ask me one-on-one questions about my personal experience, I have my calendar linked in the description box, so click on it and schedule a date to ask me questions, and I will give you answers from my personal experience. Remember, I am not a licensed immigration consultant. I am not an immigration consultant. I'm just sharing experiences, information on how I moved to Canada as a permanent resident, and how you can actually move to Canada as a permanent resident. This is like a beginner's guide to getting started as someone interested in moving to Canada as a permanent resident. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and follow me on TikTok. That's the social media platform aside from YouTube that I'm very active on. Follow me on TikTok at giftwogo. I say follow me on Instagram before, but my Instagram is on private. I don't post anything there now except maybe on my stories once in a while, so it's boring there. So don't follow me on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok at giftwogo. I am very active on TikTok, and I do have like a growing community there. Let me know what you think about this week, and if it's something that you're interested in, I will be linking it in the description box. I bought it on TikTok shop. Thank you so much, guys. If people think it's not giving, please tell me so I don't come out on this channel with this week again, okay? If you think it's not giving, tell me. It's not paying me, don't worry. You're not hurting my feelings. So tell me, please. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Bye.